Hey everybody, you're listening to Raw with Marty Gallagher, JP Brice, and Jim Steele on ICTV. Today we're discussing supplements, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now Jim and I started lifting back in the 80s. Marty started back in the early 60s. So between the three of us, we've seen our fair share of supplements that, a lot of them were totally bogus. Maybe a handful of them worked. So there's an article that Marty came out with that we posted this week. It's called Placebo Power. It's part 1 of 2. 2 comes out next week. But he kind of takes us back to the beginning, his beginning, early 60s. And he kind of talks about starting and saving up for his first can of weight gainer. And he was starting to see all this stuff, these magazine ads. Come out in the different magazines and things. And this was basically the start of the supplement revolution, as we were talking about before the call. There really was no supplements before this. So he got to see the Weider brothers start and Bob Hoffman of York Barbell start. And I believe they both started with weight gain powders and protein powders and things like that.
No, everybody got on the protein bandwagon.
Right.
All of a sudden, in the early '60s, science or somebody came to the genius conclusion that protein and weight training, hard weight training, were a magical combination. So then the rush was on. All right, let's get supplemental protein. And I was spellbound by this stuff. I mean, when Dave Draper is in Muscle Builder magazine, and they have an article where it shows that Dave gained 14 pounds of solid muscle in 14 days, taking crash weight gaining formula number 7.
And he's on the beach with the blondes on his arms.
I want some crash weight gaining formula number 7, buddy, and I'm telling you. And I mean, and it was genius marketing. Joe was always a genius marketer. 14 individual cans. All right. Each day you take a can and you mix it with a gallon of whole milk and you drink it. And in 14 days you gain 14 pounds. And again, they showed these beautiful pictures of Dave Draper. And he actually was fatter at the beginning than he was at the end. He was all ripped up. His hair was better. He went from
his hair was better.
Yeah, he had like a shitty flat top at the beginning. At the end, he had this beautiful blonde pompadour. He looked like David Bowie,
All right.
A beautiful human, right? And that, was a god, right? And Betty Weider's on one arm, and I don't know, Sharon Tate's on the other. It's just, I mean, it's a fantastic beach life. Oh, and he's wearing Daisy Duke cut off Levi's shorts.
Nice.
Right.
He must have lived in Delphi.
So anyway, so we believed it. I mean, we really, really believed it. And of course, I didn't have. Oh, and they wanted $14.95 for crash weight gaining formula number 7. Well, it was $1 a day, pound a day. I mean, it was just magical, right? Yeah. And of course, I was 14 at the time. I couldn't do it. By the time I was 15, 16, my buddies were like getting their driver's license. I had this little gig where I caddied at a golf course, and I could do 36 holes on Saturday and 36 holes on Sunday and make, like the equivalent of $100 in today's money, right? And it was good cardio because you were humping bags. You'd be carrying 2 bags, and this is summertime shit. So I scraped enough money together. Now, Hoffman was always more sensible, whereas Weider was like hyperbole, over the top, outrageous ads, go, beach lifestyle. And
plus he was more affordable too, right? As far as his products.
Yes, he was sensible and affordable and the American way, and why can't we all just have crew cuts and join the Marines? And it was a whole different approach,
right?
And so I finally scraped enough money, and Hoffman said, "Listen, crash weight gaining formula number 7, that's overpriced and it's ridiculous West Coast bullshit. We're going to give you some East Coast hardcore stuff, twice the results at half the price. So he came out with I don't know, what was it called? I can't remember. Super gain weight, high. Anyway.
Protein of the sea.
No, not that. We'll save that. That was Wretched. Bob Hoffman came out, and it was a huge 4-pound canister, right? And it was $6.95, $7. That's half of what Joe was charging. 4 pounds. So, my buddy Bishop, he had a 62 Chevy 348, 3.2 barrels, dual exhaust with dice on the windshield. So we went downtown and we bought our supplements, and we came back. Man, that stuff was like being on a drug cycle.
Why?
Because I believed in it. And the day that I got it, my life changed. And I said, I am going to do this. And it was, I was eating 6,000 calories a day, right, of regular food, because I was
you had to grow.
A 16-year-old boy.
Yeah.
So I'm slamming food, I'm drinking milk, I'm taking the Hoffman's super gain weight powder, and it's working. Every day I gain a pound. At the end of 14 days, I was 14 pounds heavier. I changed my life.
Hey, let me ask you a quick question about that.
Let me tell you the punchline.
Yeah.
The protein was soy bullshit.
Yeah.
There was nothing there. It was made out of soy.
You gained more estrogen. You gained more estrogen during those 14 days than you did in your whole life.
Well, not that, but also it was 50% sugar. So you had chocolate, you had soy, and you had sugar, right? It was like the worst possible concoction of nutrients that you could imagine.
But you were pumping out the testosterone at that age.
Sure.
And I trained 14 days in a row.
Yeah.
But Marty, how involved were you with weight training before this?
Oh, I won the DC Senior National Olympic weightlifting championships at age 14.
No shit.
All right,
That's
so you
right.
were already pounding the weight.
I pressed 230 pounds when I was a 170-pound 14-year-old boy.
Got the Irish strength.
Wacky, crazy shit. But we believed.
Yeah.
We believed. And
did you ever go up to York?
Yeah. Bob Hoffman wanted to draft me and give me a college scholarship until he got a gander of me in my black leather jacket with my thug haircut and my Chuck Taylor tennis shoes and my gabardine pants. And they said, that guy, he looks like he should join a lowrider gang.
A hellion. You still look like a hellion.
Maryland boy.
Yeah. We were not meant for each other.
Yeah.
But then you guys, you came up in the 80s. I mean, that was the worst. I mean, the hyperbole, the incredible lies, just flat out lies.
Well, yeah.
Jimmy, Jimmy, let me help you. I hope we don't get sued. Does anyone remember Yohimbe bark?
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, they still use Yohimbe, but they still use that, and they found that it's a decent fat burner.
Okay, right. Thank you.
I took too much one night and ended up in the emergency room. But
Really?
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh yeah. So
what happened?
I bought the Yohimbe tablets, and they were like, take 2, and get something out of it, fat burn, and raise your temperature. I said, well, 2's for normal people, so I'm going to take 4.
I'm a champion.
And I started cold sweating, my out of my chest, and I was like, man, because I've done shit like that with ephedrine and all kinds of stuff.
Now, how old are you?
35.
That's the worst part. We thought you were going to say 14.
I may have been older than 35. But anyway, so I went into this pizza place to pick up my pizza, and I had sweat dripping off my head, down my face, onto my shirt was soaked. He was looking at me like I was on meth, which I still was, So I actually went to the emergency room because I couldn't get it to slow down.
Yeah. I mean, you're having a heart attack, basically. I mean, you
right on the bed. They put me right in the bed, man. They were like, the deal. And then they were like, I got to sit here and wait it out. So I sat there for a couple hours, and it went away. It was scary as shit, though.
I didn't do that.
JP?
I kind of have a story like that, but now I was only like 17 at the time, so give me a break. I did try the Yohimbe, but I didn't see anything off of that. But what I had a buddy at the time that was taking niacin.
Oh yeah.
And he was taking niacin. Yeah, he would take niacin, a couple of little niacin tabs before he would train, and he'd get a little flushed, and he'd go, well, it helps with the pump and the circulation and all that stuff. So me and my buddies decide to double dose it like Jim did with the Yohimbe, and it looked within an hour. Don't anybody listening, don't ever do that. But within an hour, we were bright red and looked like crabs and itched all over. I mean, it was awful.
My brother, to get out of work, would take 3 niacin tabs, and he's a white Irish guy, and his skin would get like red blotchy, and he'd go into work and he'd say, I don't feel right, boss.
That's how he got out of work?
Yeah, the guy would look at him and go, oh my God.
Wow, I never thought of that one.
Oh, didn't you see the red blotches in your skin when you overdosed on the niacin?
No, there was no blotches. I was solid
you didn't have
red.
any of that? Oh my, it makes your skin explode.
No, it was, it felt like you had a bad sunburn.
Yeah, exactly, from the inside out.
So, all right, what's your, did you ever overdose on protein from the sea or anything like that?
Oh my God, that was, John Perillo once called that the single most wretched tasting nutritional supplement ever devised.
Who made that?
Hoffman, protein from the sea. Supposedly, he purchased ground up bluefish heads from Chesapeake Bay fishermen at like a bargain basement price, and then they combined it with sugar to disguise the taste.
Right.
So you got fish heads and sugar.
And when you
which is bluefish is like a horrible tasting fish to begin with. I mean, it's not like flounder, or Chilean sea bass.
Yeah, it's strong,
And plus, when
did you guys ever encounter brewer's yeast?
Yeah.
Oh God.
No, I never did that one.
Wheat germ.
Wheat germ is at least palatable. Brewer's yeast, it was impossible. You could mix it with orange juice. There was no way that you could disguise the wretchedness of the taste. We were into that brewer's yeast thing, I think, for 3 years.
Yeah.
And then we found out it didn't do anything.
So did you find the weeder? That's funny because in the 60s you said it was so expensive. I had to save up for months to buy the weeder stuff at GNC, man. It was so expensive.
Well,
and they got it, and you choked it down like this chalky. It was just awful. But I thought,
I wonder which weeder product you had, because most of them were so heavily sugar laden that they actually tasted pretty good.
And it was one of the pure protein, not pure protein, but 100% protein or something like that.
They probably did it with. They probably didn't cut it with any filler.
We're just all the kids want to buy this, and we didn't have nobody had any money. It was really expensive. The one that really sold me was Tim Belknap when he first came on the scene, 1981.
Thick Tim.
He did that liquid aminos.
Mm-hmm.
He was all pumped up, and he had just got that liquid aminos, and he's like, instant muscle. And I was like, I'm saving up for liquid aminos, man.
I remember that. It was like in a long bottle, and it had a squeeze top thing in the top, and it was like a sour tasting. Like a gel formula, right?
Who knows what it was, man?
Well, yeah, I don't know what was.
Those ads were the best. Mike Menser on there, Arnold.
Oh yeah, all lying their asses off.
Yeah. What do you know? Yeah, I know.
The first, the first
No, I was thinking about this before. In that subculture, there are no morals or ethics in that whole thing.
No, because they're trying to scratch out a living. If they don't play the game, they got to go back to unloading trucks at UPS.
Right, exactly.
So also with all those guys back in the day, they really didn't know whether the stuff worked or not, or whether it was bogus or not, because there were no standards.
Yeah.
No one knew that soy sucked back then.
Yeah, that's true. But weren't they all taking Rio Blair's stuff behind?
Rio H. Blair. Yeah,
you know that story, how that worked?
Yeah, well, he was the first guy who said, "Hey, you know what? We need," and these are the magic words: milk and egg protein.
Yeah.
Remember that? That was the ad. He had milk and egg protein, and then he had these long ads, usually in Iron Man, because Iron Man was cheap, and then again, Weider or Hoffman are not going to run your ads.
Yeah.
Right, if you're competing. But yeah, Rio H. Blair got real traction. He had early guys. Vince Caranda was one of his early guys, and Vince was a straight shooter. Larry Scott, a lot of the West Coast guys actually used his stuff, and it was equivalent to a good modern protein powder, right?
I heard that the guys would go behind, they'd have a contract with Weider or whatever, but they'd go to get Blair's stuff.
Oh, we still have that. I still have that with, I do a lot of work for John Perillo, and you wouldn't believe the number of professional bodybuilders and professional athletes who endorse other products that actually use John's stuff when push comes to shove.
Yeah.
But
I took milk and egg protein. That was one of the first proteins I took. I used to get it in the can from a place out here called Trader Joe's. I don't know if you guys have it, but
yes, we have Trader Joe's.
Good God!
Oh yeah, you do have Trader Joe's. Yeah, sorry.
California.
People in California, think they live in the Golden Cloud, and they're like, "Do you have food down there?" And
do you have water and shelter?
Sorry, I forgot it was a national chain, but I used to take that, and that was and the reason I got that was because it was a good quality protein, but it was cheap, and this was back in high school and stuff. The only problem with the milk and egg, it didn't taste too bad, but you mix it up in the cup and you pull your spoon out and the whole glob is on there still. It doesn't mix in too well.
Oh well.
But it's a good
out here in the East Coast, we just sucked it up and took it.
Yeah.
Marty, what about raw eggs, JP? You guys ever do the raw egg stuff?
I did, and I got deathly sick from that one time.
You're the only person I've ever heard of, dude.
Dude, I was sick. Let me tell you, I was laid up for 2 weeks.
Oh, you got salmonella.
I did get salmonella, and I mean,
wow.
it was the worst sickness. Here's what happened. So I was mixing like 8 raw eggs in each shake, right? So, and I did this for a long time. And then one day I just get sick, and I mean, for 2 weeks, it was just, I've never experienced such sickness. And I went in 2 weeks, I lost about 30 pounds. So I left work on a Friday at 290, and I come back at 260, and they're like looking me up and down. They're like, "What the hell happened with you?"
You're lucky you didn't die.
Yeah.
No, really. And you know what? I didn't have insurance or anything. I didn't even go to the doctor.
Just wrote it out.
I just
wrote it out.
I just wrote it out, man.
Yes, sir. Now that's the East Coast coming out.
Yeah, that's Maryland.
Yeah, exactly. All right, now look, I wanted to mention a story about Jeff Everson, who was a friend of mine. He dropped dead a couple months ago, right?
Yeah.
Kind of surprising. Jeff said something one time that kind of ties into what we're talking about. Back in the day when Jimmy, do you remember the Underground Storied Handbook?
Oh, by Duchesne.
Yeah, do you remember that?
Yeah.
Well, back in those days, there was a lot of talk. Duchesne he was the drug guru, but he had one time he said they're having great results in the West Coast, using growth hormone, and no one had heard of growth hormone at that point, growth hormone and eating 10,000 calories a day. So Jeff, he looked at this and he said, well, why don't you just eat the 10,000 calories a day and forget the growth hormone?
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, that's it, right? I mean, that was me taking my Hoffman's gain weight.
Right. That was the calories.
Yeah, and the belief in the product, the belief that this is the placebo effect, that I had something magical. And for the next 2 weeks, I was in a different place. And you can take your game to the next level through the power of belief. Now, do we want to skip ahead to the punchline in the second article? Because at the end, it's a story involving Brad.
Well, I wanted to kind of touch on a few more products that people might recognize that we've taken, and some we like and some we don't. There was, back in the 80s, there was the Gainers Fuel 1000. I know I took that. It was, lots of calories and sugar and stuff. I always had a problem with that stuff because I would drink it, and like an hour or two later, my sugar would just crash, and I would start getting, kind of dizzy, and so I had to eventually get off that stuff. Probably
similar to if you had eaten a half gallon of ice cream.
Yeah. What about stuff that has worked though? What
Stuff that's worked?
Yeah.
There's like a handful of stuff that, look, you always want to have a good base protein, like a good quality whey protein, which the one that I take now is the stuff from Perillo. It's real good. There's, they take out all the crap, and it's just basically pure ingredients.
And John makes his own.
Yeah, he makes his own. It's all real good.
He doesn't job it out. He doesn't send it out.
It's not too sweet.
And his damn facility looks like a NASA lab. I mean, it's spotless.
Yeah.
So I like that. I like the crispness, the clarity of John's nutrients. He doesn't skimp on that. But past that, it's pretty slim. How about you, Jim? Did you ever run across anything that you thought was really valuable?
I thought creatine definitely worked.
I've
Okay.
never really gotten anything.
Was there any particular brand that you used that you really...
I think it was EAS or something like that. I tried to stay away from the Chinese stuff. That's what everybody was telling me. Stuff that was made in China.
I think it's... hey, Jim, on creatine, I think it matters whether, like, from what I understand is people have different levels of natural creatine in their muscles, and if you're naturally lower, then creatine will actually do some good for you. I must be naturally high in creatine in my body content, but because I don't really get anything out of it. No, the story that...
It's not a magical thing, but I did... And see, this was in the...
Yes, it is.
Early 90s.
Well, we'll get to that.
They were still low fat. So I was eating a lot of chicken breasts and all that stuff. And
oh, God. Wasn't that horrible times?
Yes. But, everybody was like,
chicken breast, steamed broccoli, and rice.
Yeah. I know. Miserable.
It's hard for me to... Sorry, it's hard for me to choke down chicken breasts anymore. If I put them in a Tupperware and take them, it's like I've done it so much in the past. It's just I can't take it anymore.
Plus, you guys cook like prison chefs. I mean, it's horrible. It's gruel. You might as well be living on gruel and doing penal labor at Devil's Island. Anyway, keep going, Jim.
What are you talking about? I take fish oil, but that's because my doctor tells me to.
And that's for your joints, right?
It's for my arteries, I think.
Arteries, okay.
Glutamine? You take glutamine?
Okay.
Glutamine?
Yeah, but it's in your protein. It's in your whey protein.
Yeah, but you don't ever take it.
What do you guys think about whey versus caseinate?
Well, they say take casein before you go to sleep at night. Slow-moving protein, released slowly.
Right.
Whey right after your workout. Start the muscle-building process and recovery.
I like that. I like that strategy.
Yeah, and that's what I follow.
Quick one.
That's what I follow.
A quick one and a slow one.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah,
far
because
as
like
over the counter, what about like the androstenedione and all that stuff? Any of you guys try that?
No, we never got
well,
much. What was it? The one DHEA.
Yeah. Now,
those other ones, Marty, those andro, they're strong, man. Some of that stuff was.
Well, that stuff actually got banned, right? I mean, it wasn't to the point that they banned it.
Yeah, here's what happens: they come out with something with some ingredient, then the government stops it. Then they come out with another ingredient, then they stop it. Then they come out. So
it's designer drugs.
I'm telling you, man, that stuff. I had a guy I was training, and he was like a 285 bencher. He did 315 in like 4 weeks. He pressed like 200 overhead, weighing like 160. He was doing like 170 when we started.
Any body weight gain?
Maybe 5 to 8 pounds. Yeah.
Okay, that's insignificant.
How old was he when he was doing this?
How what?
How old was he?
Like 38, 39, something like that.
Okay, because now when I took this stuff, it was a long time ago. You know, I was in maybe my early 20s, but I'm thinking, and I never saw much from it, but I'm thinking my natural hormones were so high anyway because of my age that you really weren't going to see much.
Dude, I took this one stuff by a well-known company.
Yeah.
Based out of the East Coast, and it made my nipples like so sensitive. I had to take Novadex.
Really? Anti-estrogen.
My doctor was like, you got to take this to get my estrogen level down. This stuff was so strong. I'm telling you, man.
Did you have any gains in strength or size?
No, but my tits were going to fall off.
Yeah, they see that. To me, that's worthless.
Marty had the same problem with all that protein that he was eating back in the 60s that had the estrogen in it.
I tell you,
they didn't have Novadex back then.
No, we didn't know too
Marty.
much about that stuff. I tell you, all right. Now, I got to tell this story since we're talking about creatine, right?
All right.
So when I was working with Muscle and Fitness, Jim Wright, Dr. Jim Wright at Flex magazine, they ran a bunch of. Weider was thinking about jumping into the creatine market, so they got a bunch of commercially available creatines, and then they had them lab tested. Okay, so I don't know. I'm going to say the top 10 or 15 brands they had them tested, and so Jim, he was my friend, so he let me know what was what in terms of which creatine was good and which was bogus, and most of them were essentially worthless, just a bunch of filler. So. And that was when the creatine craze came in, and man, creatine was everywhere. Creatine was the thing. So maybe a month or two later, I get a call from my buddy, Brad Gillingham.
Allegedly.
No, truly. And Brad was prepping for the IPF World Championships. He'd won the Nationals, and he was telling me about these incredible results that he had gotten off creatine monohydrate. And I said, that's good. Okay, so tell me more. So he related that he had, he said, Marty, he said, I've never been on drugs. I don't know what that boost would be like, but I think that this creatine has given me the equivalent to a drug-like boost. He said, and I mean, his squat went up 40 pounds, his bench went up 25, his deadlift went up 45, and he won the IPF World Championships. So I made the mistake of asking which creatine he was using, and he told me, and of course it ranked like, I don't know, out of the 15 that Jim had tested, this thing ranked like number 14, right? So I had a choice. I could have said, Brad. And I caught myself. And I said, look, just shut up. And I said, oh. Brad, intuitively, instinctively, you have picked the most potent brand of creatine. Jim Wright looked at all the commercially available brands, and he said the brand that you picked, he said, in his opinion, it should be banned. Brad was like, I knew it. Right?
Tell Brad about.
No.
Yeah, he's going to find out on Monday.
To this day, I've never told him that story.
Oh boy.
Well, it doesn't matter because He won the IPF World Championships because he believed it was Marty Gallagher with the crash weight gaining formula number 7.
Yeah, the power of the placebo, baby.
The power of the placebo. If you truly believe that you've got something magical in your hand, I'm not saying it's going to work every single time, but in some situations it does. I would say this. I know that Jimmy, you've got to bounce out, but
I'm good for another 15 minutes.
I think the best, the smartest nutritional supplement I have seen in my lifetime was Metrex.
Okay.
I think it was genius on so many levels. Number one, they gave it to you in individualized packet form.
Yeah, very convenient.
That had never been done before. You could throw this in your gym bag and bust it open, and with a Tupperware container and a water fountain, you could activate this. The second thing is it tasted delicious. Right? To me, Metrex, there's never been a better tasting supplement other than some of the Perillo stuff. But to me, Metrex, of the mainstream nutritional supplements, that thing was delicious.
Huh.
And thirdly, they had, Scott Conley. He was an MD. Now, I'm not anyway. So they had the science behind them, right?
Okay.
So they had the science, the taste, and the individualized packet, and they made a fortune. And I think it was a good product.
Yeah.
I did too. It was very expensive. I couldn't always afford it, but it was.
I was in college. Couldn't afford it, man.
Right. I mean, so you guys are like resentful. I couldn't afford it. I really wanted it. I really wanted it. Well, I got it for free.
Who?
I thought it was delicious.
You know who really liked the Metrics? Was that
me, Marty Gallagher,
Kurt Kowalski.
Well, yeah.
He's in a video drinking it. You ever seen that video?
Yeah. Of course we saw it. We were there. Okay, come on, buddy. We created that.
I saw it at his house.
Kirk invented.
I've seen better at his house.
Yeah, but Kirk invented mixing beer with Metrics.
You don't know that. You're just saying that.
Well, okay. Show me a previous use of that mixture.
You don't think Kirk had mentors?
Did he learn that from you?
He had. JP, you're pushing. You're pushing. Okay, I mean we're kind of at the limit here.
Well, if anybody wants to see that video, go on YouTube and type in Kowalski beer video.
Oh, you should do that.
So besides Metrics, and I think creatine, any other supplements you guys take or believe in?
Can we talk about pre-workout for just a second?
Oh yeah. You want to know? Oh yeah.
All right. Wait.
Tell me.
First thing I want to mention is remember the ephedra tabs, the 25 milligram, the mini thins.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean you used to be able to get them at the liquor store, and I mean you take three of those and a coffee and forget about it. You can't even sit down.
I used to go pick up my son in North Carolina, and I would stop at the truck stop, and I would load up on ephedrine, man. And those ones in the truck stops were stronger than anywhere else.
That was the mini thins.
That's right. And
that's where they sold them.
I took I'm sitting there and I'm getting ready for my workout and I'm just sweating. So I'm an hour out from my workout.
Yeah.
And then it felt like I was going down like a big hill and like stopped inside my body, my heart, my breathing. And then I came back. I was like, all right, I'm going to stop at 2 next time.
No, but then you had the greatest workout of your life.
Oh, I know. And you'd lose so much water. You'd be cramping on the way home.
So what? You just had the greatest workout of your life.
I know.
It doesn't matter. So you're going to continue that behavior.
Yeah, those things were awesome.
Yeah. So, of course, everybody abused it and they got banned.
No, it's because those people some guys were drinking or doing other drugs plus the ephedrine, allegedly.
Yeah. Allegedly.
And so then they banned ephedrine, even though there's stuff out there you can get by prescription that is the same kind of stuff, and you can still buy ephedrine over the counter at CVS. It's just called Broncaid. The thing is, though, it's not as strong as the trucker speed.
Right.
It's strong, not as strong.
There's been tons of stuff.
I had training partners take so much of that stuff that they couldn't talk.
Yeah.
And they'd have like white spittle on the side, both sides of their mouth, right, dried up, and they'd be like shaking. But then they'd set a PR, 700 for 3.
There was this pre-workout that Weeder came out with, Metaform something. Yes. Metaform Heat.
Yeah, Metaform Heat, yes, sir.
Doing ads for them, and I got some because I saw Kirk with an ad. I was like, my boy's taking it. It actually had like twigs and stuff in it. And it was the best pre-workout. You should take it before he was at the printing press or something. And he'd be so productive. I mean, this stuff was ass.
Were you supposed to chew the twigs?
I don't know, man. It didn't stir. It was like eating a bush that got you fired up.
Did you ever take, now this was a couple years ago, I was taking this, is called Red Line White Heat. I think it's been banned, but this is the only, not even ephedra did this, but this is the only shit that I took that by the time I got to the gym, I had chills and the hair on my arms were standing up. It was unbelievable.
What was the name of it?
It was called Red Line White Heat. I'll tell you what, that got you fired up.
I just didn't see, ephedrine had been around so long that I trusted it, even though I almost died a couple of occasions. But I trusted it.
We'll save that for another show.
More than the other ones, that were just coming out. I just didn't trust that stuff,
Marty always swore by Up Your Gas. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Do you remember that? Oh, my God.
Up Your Gas.
Remember that with Anthony Clark? Oh, God. Oh, kill me. I hated that so much.
What was it called?
Well, it was just some sort of a quasi powerlifting thing where Anthony Clark hooked up with some guy, and they made a ton of money because lifters were convinced that somehow, and I think it might have ended up as one of those supplements that could no longer be produced because it had too much of the, what was that stuff you were talking about earlier?
Ephedra?
No. Go ahead, Jim.
Yohimbe?
No. The aldosterone.
Oh, androstenedione.
Yeah. That stuff. I think it was loaded with that. And when the boot came down, all that stuff got banned real quick. I think those guys over at testosterone.net with Poliquin, I think they were the first guys to introduce that stuff, weren't they?
I don't know.
I think so.
Yeah.
Another strength coach that died this year. It was a bad year for strength coaches. We lost Jeff Everson. We lost Fred Hatfield. We lost Charles Poliquin.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I don't want to get off into it.
Well, we could go on all day. We could talk about cybergenics. We could talk about hot stuff. We could talk about
cybergenics. Okay. I can tell you some stuff about that guy. That guy died early. He had one of the greatest rock and roll guitar collections in the world.
Yes, he did. After he sold out, right? He sold out to some company in Australia, I think.
He did really, really well.
Yeah.
And it was
total. Before and after pictures were amazing.
It was so smart, and it was completely bogus. I had people who knew him. He was up from the New England area, and I had people who knew him, and he said, "Do you understand that I have $6 in cost to every $80 sale I make?"
Wow.
Yeah. And he made a fortune. And again, it was just all that. He was genius marketing, that before and after. Bill Phillips got on that bandwagon too with the whole Fit for Life thing, which came a little bit later.
Yeah, well,
the Phillips and EAS and Metrex and Jeff, and it was all mixed together, man.
Well, they started coming out with like complete systems, the nutrition, the training. They started including the videotapes, and the different things. So it was like a whole thing that you bought into, and they did pretty well.
Does he still own that company?
Oh, I have
Bill
no
Phillips?
idea. I'm so far off that team.
I don't think so. I think they.
I think he's long gone. I think he's made his multi-millions and is.
They jumped the shark a while ago, man. When he came out with all the movies and then they had that movie where they're just putting bodybuilding down. The whole thing is putting bodybuilding down, and we just want to be, super lean and fit. Well, not everybody wants to be like that, man. You just cut out your whole audience, a big part of your audience. But anyway,
it was a very cool thing how he initially made his money. What was the
Muscle Media 2000?
Mm-hmm.
But that was the magazine. But he had this consumer report.
Supplement.
Yeah, supplement, and it was free.
Yeah.
It was free. However, it was $2.95 shipping and handling.
Okay.
They had 50 cents into the product, and so for every $2.95 free edition, and it was a good book. It was like 300 or 400 pages. It was a good book. So the free book made him a fortune.
Really? Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's how he got the big traction. And then of course him and Scott. Anyway, we don't need to get into all this.
Yeah.
So listen, what's the conclusion here? I mean, what's the takeaway on all this stuff we're talking about?
Take a good protein supplement.
Yeah. Take, don't go overboard. Don't go crazy with the supplements. They're not going to work miracles. Use what's proven. I mean, there are scientific studies out there about things like, protein and glutamine and things like that. And really what Jim said, no supplement in the world is going to pale in comparison to just nutrient-rich diets and combined with consistent training and all that. That's where it starts. So don't start lifting and go, I need all these supplements to make gains. No, you don't. Take that later. Just start eating right and start lifting.
Take that money that you're going to buy 5 pounds of protein with and buy steak and ground beef.
Yep.
That's right. Yeah, that's the best investment.
If you invented steak, you'd be the freaking man. You'd be like, eat one of these a day and you'll gain, 5 pounds of muscle in a month. Your squat will go up by 30. And it would happen if everybody did that,
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Yes, that's wisdom to live by.
Right.
Let's leave it on that high.
All right. Check out Marty's weekly column and podcast, Raw with Marty Gallagher, at ironcompany.com. And don't forget his latest article, Placebo Power. We got part 1, and Mr. Brad Gillingham, I think he'll be reading part 2 next Monday.
Get yourself some crash weight gaining formula number 7.
And Marty's also available for online training and seminars. You can reach him by going to our athletes page at ironcompany.com. Also pick up his book, Purposeful Primitive. You'll find that on our site as well. And check out Iron Company for all your fitness equipment and gym flooring needs. And finally, we've got Jim Steele. He's starting to populate our site with these fine articles of his. You can find him in the articles section. Also,
could be better.
Also check out.
He's improving. Hey.
Wait a minute.
Anybody who wants really current training, don't forget to contact Jim.
Yeah, and contact Jim as well. And you can also
saying, I'm the old school throwback guy. He's the cutting edge dude. Well, I mean, that between us, Jim, we got it all covered.
Jim, you were a head strength coach for University of Pennsylvania for how many years?
For 20, and then I coached 10 years before that also.
Yeah, and I've seen you coach. You know your stuff. So anybody wants to get a hold of Jim for that. Also check out his website, bassbarbell.com, BAS barbell.com. He's got a lot of great articles on there, programs and different things. All right, anything else?
No,
that's it, guys. Thanks.
All right, guys, good one. Thank you.
All right, JP.
Bye,
Jim.
Bye.